My brothers and sisters, today I want to remind you of something very simple yet deeply powerful. Not everything in your life is meant to be shared. In this age where people post every meal, every emotion, and every moment online, we've forgotten the beauty of privacy. When you expose your personal life to the world, you also open the door for unnecessary opinions, jealousy, and even harm. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. The less people know about your plans, your struggles, and your blessings, the more peace Allah places in your heart. Protect your inner circle, guard your peace, and remember, not everyone who smiles at you is happy for you. Privacy is protection, not secrecy. Because when you choose to keep certain parts of your life away from the eyes and ears of people, you are not hiding anything wrong, you are simply safeguarding your peace. Many people misunderstand privacy, thinking that being private means being mysterious or antisocial. But in reality it means being wise. It means you know the value of your personal life and you don't hand it out like free information to anyone who asks. The truth is, not everyone who listens to you listens with love. And not everyone who asks cares about your well-being. Some people just want to know more so they can talk more. Privacy helps you maintain control over your emotions, your plans, and your peace of mind. When you are private, you protect your energy from being drained by unnecessary drama and judgment. In life, not everything needs to be explained or justified. You are not obligated to let the world know what you are doing, where you are going, or what you are planning next. When you overshare, you give people the opportunity to interfere, to criticize, or to compare their lives with yours, and comparison kills contentment. When you choose privacy, you choose to stay content with what Allah has written for you without the noise of others trying to influence your path. There is beauty in silence and strength in keeping things between you and your Creator. Even the most successful and wise people understand that privacy is a form of power. It keeps your focus clear and your intentions pure. The moment you start telling everyone your dreams, they can project their doubts onto you, making you question your own direction. Some may even envy your progress or silently wish against your success. When you protect your privacy, you protect your blessings from the eyes that don't see goodness the way you do. You allow your growth to happen quietly, away from distraction and negativity. A private person doesn't hide, they preserve. They understand that not every moment needs an audience, not every victory needs applause, and not every wound needs to be exposed. When you choose privacy, you give yourself the space to heal, to grow, and to stay grounded without external pressure or judgment. Oversharing invites unnecessary negativity, because the more people know about your personal life, the more opinions, judgments, and assumptions you attract. The world today has made it seem normal to share everything. From your emotions to your plans, from your struggles to your successes. But what most people fail to realize is that not everyone watching you wishes you well. Some are silent observers, waiting for your downfall, while others carry envy in their hearts without even realizing it. When you speak too much about your life, you give space for people to misunderstand you, to misinterpret your intentions, and even to twist your words. The moment you make your private life public, you lose control over how others perceive you. Privacy, once lost, cannot easily be restored. When you constantly share your feelings and personal experiences with everyone, you open yourself up to unnecessary emotional energy from others. Energy that can drain your motivation and peace. Words have weight, and when you expose your personal thoughts, you invite opinions that you never needed in the first place. Sometimes you just want to express something pure from your heart. But when others respond with negativity, sarcasm, or disbelief, it plants doubt in your mind. That is how negativity begins to grow. Not because of your situation, but because of the people you allow to speak into it. Oversharing gives people power over your emotions. When you let too many people inside your story, your focus shifts from living your life to defending it. There is wisdom in silence and dignity in keeping certain things to yourself. Every time you talk too much about your blessings, your relationships, or your plans, you expose them to the possibility of envy and evil intentions. The evil eye is real, and sometimes a single jealous glance or harsh comment can disturb your peace more than you realize. Protecting your personal life doesn't mean you don't trust others. It simply means you value your peace more than public approval. You don't need to prove your happiness to anyone. You don't need to explain your pain to everyone. What you share should come from wisdom, not emotion. Oversharing can also make you dependent on external validation. When people constantly react to your life, you begin to rely on their responses for self-worth. You start measuring your happiness by likes, comments, and attention. Slowly, you lose the ability to enjoy your blessings privately because your heart craves recognition from others. This is a dangerous trap. It keeps you seeking acceptance rather than contentment. True peace comes when you no longer need the world to understand your journey. Oversharing takes that peace away. It feeds the ego and starves the soul. Protecting your life from unnecessary exposure allows your mind to stay calm and your spirit to stay strong. The less people know about your private matters, the fewer chances they have to interfere with them. Silence keeps your blessings pure and your heart light. Beyond people can misuse what they know about you, and this is one of the most painful realities of life. You may share something out of honesty or trust, but not everyone will receive it with sincerity. Some people will take your words and use them against you at the right moment, turning your openness into a weapon. When you reveal too much about your personal struggles, your weaknesses, or your plans, you give people access to the most vulnerable parts of your life. Not everyone deserves that access. The moment someone knows your emotional triggers, your fears, or your insecurities, they can manipulate your peace without you realizing it. People often pretend to care just to gather information. Later, they twist your truth, exaggerate your words, and share your private matters for gossip or entertainment. That is why silence is strength and privacy is protection. Every relationship, no matter how close, has limits. You cannot trust every smiling face or every comforting word. Sometimes people appear kind only because they want to know more about your life. Once they get what they need, they slowly distance themselves, leaving you exposed and hurt. This happens because people's intentions are not always pure. Some may envy your peace, your growth, or your blessings, and the more they know about your journey, the more they find ways to disrupt it. When people misuse your trust, they remind you that wisdom lies in keeping your circle small and your private matters even smaller. You may think that being open makes you honest and real, but the truth is, being too open makes you vulnerable in a world that doesn't value sincerity anymore. People listen not always to understand you, but often to compare themselves with you. They store your words in their minds, waiting for the right time to use them against you. A single statement shared in confidence can later become the root of rumors or misunderstandings. What you say in trust can easily become a topic of discussion in your absence. That's how reputations are damaged, friendships are broken, and hearts are hurt, not because of lies, but because of truths shared with the wrong people. The world today thrives on curiosity. Everyone wants to know what others are doing, where they are going, how they are living, and who they are becoming. People will push you to share more, not because they care, but because they crave information. The more you give, the more you lose control of your narrative. When people misuse your words, they distort your image, and you end up defending things you never needed to explain. It's a cycle that drains your peace and confuses your purpose. The less people know, the less power they have over your emotions. Keeping things to yourself is not about mistrust, it is about self-respect. You cannot control what others say, but you can control what you allow them to know. Every time you share something personal, ask yourself if it adds value or if it simply makes you vulnerable. Some truths are meant to stay between you and your Creator. There is beauty in being silent about your pain, your dreams, and your progress. When you keep certain matters private, you protect them from judgment, envy, and interference. The most successful people often move quietly because they understand that peace is fragile. When too many people have access to your inner world, chaos begins to grow. You don't owe explanations for your choices, your plans, or your past. People can and will misuse anything they can get their hands on, even your kindness. That's why boundaries exist. Not to distance people, but to protect your spirit. Guard your life the way you would guard a precious jewel. Once it's exposed to too many hands, it loses its shine. Some people don't deserve to know your story because their hearts cannot handle your truth. Hidden blessings stay safe from envy and evil eye, because not every blessing is meant to be seen or spoken about. The more you expose your happiness, your success, and your personal victories, the more you attract eyes that do not always look with kindness. Envy is a silent disease that grows in the hearts of people who smile at you but feel bitterness within. Sometimes even those close to you may unintentionally envy what you have, not because they hate you, but because they wish they had what you are blessed with. That is why it is wise to keep certain things hidden, not out of fear, but out of gratitude and awareness. Protecting your blessings means valuing them enough to guard them from negativity and evil intentions that may exist around you. When Allah grants you something beautiful, peace, love, success, or even a small answered prayer, it is not always necessary to announce it to the world. Some blessings grow in silence. They flourish when they are nurtured privately. The more you talk about what you have, the more attention you bring to it, and not all attention is good. The evil eye is real, and even a look filled with admiration but lacking remembrance of Allah can bring harm. That is why the wise often say, not everyone who claps for you is happy for you. People may congratulate you, but deep down their hearts may struggle to see you ahead of them. It is a natural human weakness, and protecting yourself from it is part of wisdom. There is also spiritual protection in silence. When you keep your blessings hidden, you avoid unnecessary comparisons. The moment you share your happiness publicly, someone else might feel sadness because they are still waiting for what you have. Without realizing it, your joy can become someone else's source of pain. Islam teaches modesty not only in dress or speech, but also in how we handle our successes. Modesty means to be grateful quietly, to enjoy your blessings without arrogance, and to thank Allah privately. When you do this, your heart stays pure, your intentions stay humble, and your blessings remain protected from the envy that can destroy peace. Many times people lose their happiness not because something went wrong, but because they invited too many eyes into their joy. The moment you post or speak about every achievement, you create room for unseen forces, jealousy, gossip, competition, to creep in. You may notice how your peace starts fading, your plans start stalling, and your motivation begins to weaken. This happens when too many people become aware what you have or what you're working toward. Protecting your blessings is not superstition, it's wisdom. Even the smallest seed needs soil to grow in darkness before it becomes a tree. If you expose it too early to the harsh light of attention, it dies before it can bear fruit. Your blessings are the same. They need to be nurtured quietly until they are strong enough to withstand the world's gaze. Gratitude does not require an audience. You can thank Allah 1,000 times in your heart without a single person knowing. You can celebrate your blessings with your Creator, and that will always be more meaningful than public applause. The one who gave you the blessing knows your heart. He sees your thankfulness even when you say nothing. When you hide your blessings for the sake of protection, you are not being secretive. You are being wise and spiritually aware. It shows that you trust Allah more than people and that you seek His protection above worldly validation. There will always be people who measure their happiness against yours. No matter how pure your intention is, your joy can trigger their pain. So instead of explaining your success or showing off your peace, protect it. Not everything beautiful needs to be displayed. The quiet ones often live the most peaceful lives because they understand this truth. The less people know about your blessings, the longer they last. When Allah gives you something, treasure it in your heart, keep it away from unnecessary eyes, and let it grow in the shade of gratitude and humility. Hidden blessings remain protected, untouched, and pure because they are guarded by silence and surrounded by sincerity. Silence builds strength and spiritual peace because it teaches you to listen more, to observe deeply, and to understand without reacting. In a noisy world where everyone feels the need to express, defend, or prove themselves, silence becomes a rare and powerful quality. It's not about being quiet out of fear, but being silent out of wisdom. When you choose silence, you are not suppressing your emotions, you are mastering them. Silence gives you time to think before you speak, to reflect before you react, and to align your heart with your Creator before you make decisions. Many problems in life arise because we speak too quickly, respond too harshly, or reveal too much. When you stay silent, you protect yourself from words that can be used against you and from regret that often follows unnecessary talk. There is a kind of inner peace that only silence can give. When you are quiet, your mind slows down, your emotions settle, and your heart reconnects with calmness. You begin to understand that not everything needs a response, not every question deserves an answer, and not every situation requires your voice. Sometimes silence is the most powerful reply, especially when people expect you to react with anger or frustration. When you remain calm in moments of chaos, You show true strength. It's easy to talk. It takes real discipline to stay quiet when you could easily argue or defend yourself. Silence becomes your shield. It protects your dignity and keeps your energy from being wasted on people or situations that don't deserve your peace. Spiritually, silence brings you closer to Allah. It allows you to hear the whispers of your own soul and to reflect on the blessings and tests around you. When you spend time in silence, your prayers become more sincere, your gratitude more genuine, and your patience more solid. You begin to see how silence connects you to the remembrance of Allah, because in that quiet space, your heart starts to speak. In moments of silence, you realize how much noise you've been letting in. Noise from people, from social media, from unnecessary conversations, all of which distract you from your purpose. True peace doesn't come from talking. It comes from being present, from being aware, from being still. Silence also helps you understand others better. When you listen more than you speak, you start to notice things words can't express. Body language, emotions, unspoken struggles. You become more empathetic, more patient, and more thoughtful in your relationships. Many conflicts could be avoided if people learn to stay silent for a moment and truly listen. Silence gives you clarity, and clarity saves relationships. When you stop rushing to respond, you give wisdom the space to rise. You start to see that sometimes silence is not weakness, it is strategy. It allows you to maintain control of your emotions and not let others dictate your mood. In a world obsessed with expression, silence feels unnatural to many. People think that if you are silent, you are uninformed or uninterested. But those who understand silence know it's the mark of emotional maturity. You don't have to share every opinion, argue every point, or react to every provocation. When you remain silent, you show that your peace is more valuable than your pride. Silence is strength, because it keeps you from lowering yourself to the level of those who thrive on conflict. The one who stays calm in the storm is the one who truly holds power. Silence also helps you heal. Sometimes you don't need to talk about your pain. You just need to sit with it, feel it, and let it pass through you quietly. Speaking too soon about your wounds can reopen them. Silence gives you the space to process your emotions without judgment. It allows Allah to heal what words cannot fix. The heart finds peace not through noise but through stillness. Every time you choose silence over argument, reflection over reaction, and patience over pride, you build an inner strength that cannot be shaken by external chaos. When you live in silence, you also protect your blessings. Many times when you share too much about your personal life, your future plans, or your inner thoughts, you attract unnecessary energy, opinions, doubts, jealousy. But when you remain silent, you move in peace. People don't know what to attack, what to question, or what to interfere with. Your silence keeps you mysterious, and that mystery protects your purpose. Silence is the wall that guards your dreams until they are ready to be seen. It keeps your focus intact and your faith strong. Silence is also a form of worship. When you refrain from gossip, argument, and idle talk, you are protecting your tongue from sin. The Prophet taught that whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak good or remain silent. This shows how much value silence holds in our faith. Every moment of silence can become a form of remembrance. If your heart is connected to Allah, when you are silent, your mind may rest, but your soul is awake. You begin to feel peace, not because life is perfect, but because your heart has learned to rest in quiet. Surrender. Share your life with Allah, not the world, because He is the only one who truly understands your heart, your struggles, and your intentions. When you pour out your feelings to people, they might listen for a moment. They might offer sympathy, or they might even use your words against you. But when you speak to Allah, He listens with mercy, with love, and with wisdom. The world is full of opinions, but only Allah knows the truth behind your silence. When you learn to take your joys, your sorrows, and your secrets to Him alone, you will discover a peace that no amount of human understanding can ever give. Sharing your life with Allah means making Him your closest companion, your first listener, and your ultimate refuge. It means trusting that even when no one understands you, He does. There are moments in life when the heart feels heavy, when you want to tell someone everything that's bothering you, but every time you do, it feels like no one really hears you. That's because human hearts are limited. They can care, but they can't cure. They can listen, but they can't heal. Only Allah can do that. When you cry in prayer, when you whisper your fears in sujood, when you silently lift your heart toward Him in the quiet of the night, you are sharing your life in the most sacred way possible. Those tears, those whispered du'as, and those private conversations with Allah are more healing than 1,000 words spoken to people. When you make Allah your confidant, you no longer need the world to validate your pain or your happiness. The more you share your life with the world, the more opinions you invite. People will always have something to say. Some will judge, some will gossip, and some will pretend to care only to know more. But when you share your life with Allah, He keeps your affairs private, and He manages your matters in the best way. You will notice how your heart becomes lighter, your mind clearer, and your soul stronger. This is the secret of true peace, not in expressing everything to people, but in confiding everything to your Creator. Every time you choose to speak to Allah instead of others, you strengthen your connection with Him. You show trust in His wisdom and patience in His timing. Many people today seek comfort in sharing everything on social media or with friends, thinking it helps them feel less alone. But what they don't realize is that the more they expose their inner life to the world, the more they invite external energy, envy, judgment, comparison into their hearts. When you start sharing your pain publicly, it may bring temporary relief, but it also makes you emotionally dependent on people's reactions. When you share it with Allah, you find relief that is pure, healing that is lasting, and strength that is spiritual. Allah does not need your perfect words. He understands your silence, your tears, your sighs. Even when you cannot express what you feel, He already knows it. Sharing your life with Him is not about formality, it is about sincerity. The beauty of sharing your life with Allah is that you never have to fear betrayal. He will never use your weaknesses against you, never reveal your secrets, never judge your emotions. He will forgive you when you fall, guide you when you're lost, and strengthen you when you're weak. Every human being, no matter how kind, has limits, but Allah's mercy has no end. When you make Him your closest companion, you learn to detach from people's opinions and attach your heart to His love. The world might misunderstand your silence, but Allah knows the meaning behind it. He knows the tears you hide, the patience you practice, and the prayers you whisper in the dark. When you share your life with Allah, you begin to live differently. You stop chasing attention because your heart finds contentment in His remembrance. You stop explaining your pain because you know He already understands it. You stop seeking validation because you realize His approval is enough. You stop being hurt by people's actions because you know your life is in His control, not theirs. This is spiritual maturity. When you learn to rely less on people and more on the One who created them, it doesn't mean you isolate yourself from others. It means you prioritize your connection with Allah above all else. It means that even when you talk to people, your heart remains attached to Him. There is a certain tranquility that comes from knowing that you don't need to broadcast your blessings, your struggles, or your dreams, because Allah is the only witness you need. He sees the effort you put in when no one else notices. He hears your silent gratitude. When your heart is full of joy, He knows the battles you fight behind closed doors, the ones no one applauds you for. When you live like this, you begin to see life differently. Every hardship becomes a conversation with Him. Every blessing a thank you note to Him. Every delay a lesson from Him. Sharing your life with Allah transforms your heart from being dependent on people to being connected to peace. Every night before you sleep, when you replay the day in your mind, instead of complaining to others, talk to Allah. Tell Him what hurt you, what scared you, what made you smile. Ask Him to give you strength for tomorrow. Those private conversations are what build your faith. They are the moments that make you realize that even when the world turns its back on you, Allah never leaves. Sharing your life with Him keeps you spiritually grounded. You stop reacting to people's behavior and start responding with patience and wisdom, because your peace no longer depends on others. It comes from your connection with Him. In this world, you don't need to prove your worth